Your brain is 12.5 times more likely to believe my gesture over my words. That's not my opinion. That's science. If you run investor events, updates, or meetings, these cues change whether you win capital. And if you're trying to raise capital for investment deals, this single fact explains why some people say yes immediately while others walk away from perfect opportunities. The 4 channels that control investor trust are body language, vocal tone, verbal language, and appearance. Most people focus on just one, but a single mismatched cue can sink a good deal. When you master all 4 together, something incredible happens to your success rate. Resources pulled for this video are in the description below. This video is a summary of Vanessa Van Edwards' 3-hour interview from the Diary of a CEO, summed up into 15 minutes. Kane here. I've been in the housing industry for nearly 20 years. I own properties throughout Ontario. Be sure to watch my full bio video. Without further ado, let's begin. First impressions form very quickly and are overwhelmingly driven by warmth and competence. Research shows these 2 dimensions explain about 82% of what people judge at first sight. Your body sends signals before you even speak, and since gestures are trusted more than words and are difficult to fake, body language becomes your silent deal maker. Many real estate professionals focus only on their pitch deck, while their body language screams, "Don't invest with me." Vanessa says that there are 5 power cues for competence. First is the steeple hand gesture. Research and practitioner work identifies the steeple as a powerful competence cue. It appears frequently in high-authority photos and book covers. Record yourself explaining returns with fingertips pressed together and pointed upward for 30 seconds. Second is shoulder to earlobe distance. Keep your shoulders relaxed and away from your ears to avoid signaling stress. Roll your shoulders down and back for 30 seconds before the meeting, then record and compare. Third is end-of-sentence eye contact. Look directly at your investor as you finish important statements to show confidence in your words. Practice your key numbers while maintaining eye contact with a mirror for 1 minute. Fourth is focused lower lid flex. Slightly narrow your eyes when discussing numbers or strategy to signal analytical thinking. Record yourself explaining cap rates with this focused expression for 45 seconds. Fifth is downward inflection. Drop your voice at the end of statements instead of raising it like a question. Practice 3 key statements with strong downward endings and record the difference. Now the 5 warm cues. Triple nod. A slow 3-count nod when an investor speaks invites them to expand their view without saying a word. Head tilt. Tilt your head slightly when investors ask questions to show you care about their concerns. Authentic smile. Real smiles create small wrinkles around your eyes, unlike fake smiles that only move mouth muscles. Forward lean. Lean slightly toward investors when they speak to demonstrate interest in their perspective. Nonverbal bridges. Mirror their sitting position or gesture patterns naturally to create connection. Proximity matters too. Point your feet toward the investor even when your body faces away. Keep your arms uncrossed and your chest facing forward. Stand or sit at the same level as investors when possible to avoid power imbalances. Consider Jamie Siminoff on Shark Tank. Great product, solid numbers, but his nervous body language killed the deal. Some experts have great assets, but a mismatch in cues can still kill funding. When you move from slides to the numbers table in an event, switch from competence gestures to warmth cues for questions. Your competence cues must balance with your warmth cues. Too much competence without warmth makes you seem cold. Too much warmth without competence makes you seem unprofessional. Which of the 5 competence cues do you score lowest on? Record yourself now. Perfect body language means nothing if your voice betrays uncertainty. Your vocal tone carries the emotional weight that either builds confidence or creates doubt in potential investors. In a study where surgeons' short voice clips were rated for warmth and competence, low-rated surgeons had higher malpractice rates. Voice matters in professional credibility. You could have the perfect investment opportunity, but if your voice signals uncertainty, investors will hear risk instead of reward. Downward inflection at sentence endings conveys conviction and authority in financial presentations. When you end statements with a rising tone, you sound unsure about your own numbers. Again, drop your voice at the end of each important point. Say, "This property will generate 12% returns," with your voice going down on returns. The difference between nervous rapid speech and confident measured pacing changes everything during deal explanations. Fast talkers sound like they're hiding something or trying to rush past problems. Slow down when you explain cap rates or debt service coverage ratios. Each word should be clear and easy to follow. Count to 2 between major points. This gives investors time to process complex financial information. Use a slower pace for complex financial concepts. When you explain mortgage structures or refinancing strategies, reduce your speaking speed by 25%. Strategic pauses create emphasis on important numbers. After stating a return percentage, pause for 3 seconds. This lets the information sink in and shows confidence in your projections. Volume control affects perceived competence more than most people realize. Speaking too softly suggests lack of confidence in your investment thesis. Your voice should fill the room without shouting. Practice projecting from your chest, not your throat. Weak voices make investors question if you can handle difficult situations or negotiate tough deals. The vocal bridge technique involves matching investor energy levels to create connection during negotiations. If an investor speaks quickly with high energy, increase your pace slightly to match their rhythm. If they speak slowly and deliberately, slow down your delivery. This creates subconscious rapport and makes investors feel understood. Your tone must match your message content. Use a steady, serious tone when discussing potential problems or market challenges in your pitch deck. Switch to a warmer, slightly brighter tone when explaining benefits and upside potential. This contrast helps investors understand the difference between realistic risk assessment and genuine opportunity. Record yourself presenting a deal summary. Listen for filler words like and Record a practice run and count your filler words. These vocal hiccups reduce credibility and make you sound unprepared. Practice until you can present key financial metrics without verbal stumbles. Practice vocal exercises before important investor meetings. Hum for 30 seconds to warm up your voice and increase breath control. Speak tongue twisters to improve clarity. Take deep breaths to control nervousness that affects vocal quality. When you control your vocal tone, you control how investors emotionally respond to your investment opportunity. But the specific words you choose can completely change how they think about working with you. Word choice creates the mental framework that shapes every investor decision. The Wall Street versus community study proves how powerful framing becomes. Researchers gave people identical investment scenarios. One group saw materials labeled with Wall Street terms like aggressive growth and market domination. The other group saw the same numbers described with community terms like shared prosperity and neighborhood development. The Wall Street group shared an average of 1/3 of their profits, while the community group shared about 2/3. Same opportunity, different words, completely different investor response. Your calendar invites and email subject lines need strategic word swaps. Replace performance review with strategy session. Replace meeting with collaborative session. Replace mortgage discussion with financing strategy chat. The word collaborative tells investors they're partners, not judges. Strategy suggests forward-thinking planning rather than backward-looking analysis. The power of "I was just thinking of you" messages builds genuine relationships with potential investors. This phrase works because it shows the investor was on your mind when they didn't ask to be. Use this template. "I was just thinking of you. Saw an article about interest rate trends. How's your project going?" These messages create positive touch points between formal investment discussions. Victim versus hero language affects how investors perceive your track record and future potential. Victim language focuses on external problems. The market crashed and hurt our returns. Hero language focuses on your responses and solutions. We adjusted our strategy when market conditions shifted. Investors want to partner with problem solvers, not problem victims. The other effect involves strategic vulnerability that actually increases trust when shared authentically. Research shows people who spill coffee before job interviews or mention smoothie spills get higher trust ratings because controlled vulnerability makes other statements more believable. Share one genuine concern early in conversations. "The main risk I see is if vacancy rates increase above 8% in this market." This honesty makes your other statements more credible and shows you think through problems before they happen. Practice replacing negative or neutral words with positive alternatives in all investor communications. Replace costs with investments. Replace risks with considerations. Replace problems with challenges or opportunities for improvement. Audit your next 3 investor emails and replace at least 2 neutral or negative words with collaborative or solution-focused words. This single exercise will change how investors respond to your communications. Master strategic word choice. and you'll prime investors to see opportunities instead of obstacles in every conversation. But even perfect words lose their power if your visual presentation contradicts your message. Investors form impressions extremely fast. Warmth and competence account for roughly 82% of that immediate judgment. Your appearance creates the visual framework that either supports or undermines everything else you communicate. Many successful real estate investors lose deals not because of poor numbers, but because their appearance doesn't match their expertise. Choose a conservative, well-fitted palette that matches financial expectations in your market. Avoid outfits that clash with the professional tone of your investor audience. Navy and charcoal gray work well for most investor presentations because they signal stability without being distracting. Your clothing should fit properly. Loose clothing looks sloppy, tight clothing looks unprofessional. Virtual meetings require specific environmental setup. Use these 3 pre-call checks. First, position your camera at eye level and arm's length back. Low angles make you look less competent. High angles make you seem weak. Second, ensure lighting comes from in front of you, not behind you. Poor lighting makes it hard for investors to read your facial expressions. Third, remove clutter from your background. Messy rooms suggest poor attention to detail. A simple wall with one piece of professional art works best. Resting bothered face happens when your natural expression looks negative or concerned without you knowing it. Your face might look worried, angry, or bored when you think you look normal. Practice a slightly positive resting face in the mirror before recordings, or use a quick facial warm-up to lift facial muscles prior to video call. Ask trusted friends if you look approachable when you're not actively smiling. Here are 5 small things investors notice. Clean, trimmed nails show attention to detail. Your watch should be conservative and well-maintained. Expensive watches can intimidate smaller investors. Cheap watches might suggest poor financial management. Neat facial hair and intentional hairstyles signal you manage important matters well. Clean, well-maintained shoes matter because investors connect personal care with financial management skills. For in-person investment meetings, choose a neat, conservative look that signals reliability and avoids distracting or polarizing accessories. If you're unsure, lean toward the conservative side. Investors default to trusting conservative visual cues. Research the cultural background of your investors before meetings. Some cultures prefer more formal dress. Others value casual approachability. Conservative choices work better when you're unsure about cultural preferences. Strategic jewelry choices should be simple rather than flashy. Your accessories should support your message, not compete with it. Make sure everything you wear looks intentional and well-maintained. When your appearance aligns with competence and warmth signals, investors see a professional they want to work with. But mastering each channel individually only gets you part of the way there. True influence comes from systematic integration across all 4 channels, because again, 82% of first impression variance is explained by warmth and competence. Aligning all 4 channels around those dimensions greatly improves your chances of being seen as credible and likable. Without a system to coordinate these channels, you might excel in one area while accidentally sabotaging yourself in another. The thermostat concept helps you balance warmth and competence cues across all 4 channels simultaneously. Think of yourself as having an internal thermostat that adjusts your signals based on what investors need to feel. When presenting numbers, raise competence cues with steeple gestures, downward inflection, and precise language. During Q&A, turn up warmth cues with triple nods, head tilt, and open torso. This creates one coordinated system instead of random signals. Proximity to high performers affects your own cue transmission through the 25-foot rule for team positioning. Stand or sit within 25 feet of your most successful team members during investor meetings. Research shows being within 25 feet of a high performer is linked to roughly 15% improvement in your own performance, while being near a low performer correlates with about 30% decline. Their confident body language and vocal patterns will influence your own signals without conscious effort. To explain why this happens, internal responses to cues loop back and affect your external signals. When investors respond positively to your cues, you feel more confident. This confidence improves your next set of cues, which creates even better investor responses. When investors respond negatively, the opposite happens. Break negative cycles with this technique. Label and reframe internally. Name the cue you saw, like lip purse, noted, to prevent you from hijacking your next cue. This labeling deactivates fear responses and keeps you in control. Test this integrated approach first with a friend before using it in a meeting. Practice with low-stakes conversations until the system becomes automatic. This foundation determines whether your next investor conversation builds the kind of partnership. Your success depends on how well you coordinate these 4 channels in investor situations. Numbers alone don't secure investment success. Trust and relationships built through mastered communication cues do. You can have the best deals and strongest financials, but investors choose people they trust first. Record a 90-second deal summary this week. Rate your body language, vocal tone, word choice, and appearance. Pick one channel that needs work and focus on it for the next 7 days. Every conversation builds trust that compounds into long-term investment success. If you like this kind of content, be sure to watch my next video on the investment that can make you money while you sleep.